don't think I can talk about that.
Well, why you rehearse like that? It's awful. Yeah. Just say the question and let's go on camera. Yes. Other way you rehearse for nothing.
Joan and Luciano, you're both wonderful by yourselves, but why is it you do twice as wonderful together?
Oh, that question. that question is I think is obvious. I mean, from my side is obvious. To have a partner like Joan is an inspiration. She is in the same track in which I always try to be in terms of bel canto and the way to express the voice and the way to make music with the voice. Because there are certain people that they think that they cannot make music with voice. They think, voice, yeah, but then the music. No, it's not like that.
Opera is music and voice, and
yes.
voice and music.
Yes,
no, well, I agree. I think that it, as Luciano says, it's an inspiration. It's a great spur to sing with a voice like his. And I think when we sing with each other, we each sing, I think, we feel as though we try and sing a little better. I think it is something like that.
For a tenor, if you are not at the best, you are going down.
But it's certainly true that if a singer sings with somebody as good as themselves or better than themselves, they will always sing better.
Oh, well, it's always been terrible. If you were sort of classed as a star and you were put in a production and had to try and carry that production actually on your own, it's terrifying.
That's bad, but it happens today more than it ever used to happen.
Well, it does really, I suppose.
Unfortunately, yeah. But
in the 40s, 50s, 60s, we used to have the great 4- or 5-star productions, but where are they now?
Yes, but then in the 50s we also had the repertory system at Covent Garden. I mean, I think that the repertory system was absolutely great.
I'm all for it. I think it was wonderful.
It's funny for me to say now the repertory system was great, but Luciano too thinks that the tour, for instance, that we did in Australia, that was repertory. I mean, you sang 3 nights a week. Every week for 14 weeks. I sang 3 nights a week, every week for 14 weeks. And we were singing together some of the time, not all of the time. But there was a repertory company, and every performance was drawn from that company.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
I was the young kid coming out, and
you sure came out.
most of the people knows already. Both of you were incredible inspiration, and Joan breathing, it was known to me through that beautiful tour that we have done in Australia. Really, I learned from that tour more than I have done before and after in my life.
You've also always said that, and it's very generous of you, Luciano. But I always have visions of you feeling Joan around her middle parts and trying to find out exactly how she
moves. You have really to
It's a further distance to go now, Luciano.
First time we worked together was, of course, in Miami. Do you remember?
I cannot forget.
How could you forget?
I cannot forget.
Your American debut.
I cannot forget, beginning even from the fly. I am leaving Milan with a Lufthansa fly going to Miami. So we make 6 or 7 stops, and they always take picture of me. I say to myself, oh, great is to sing with Joan Sutherland, and they begin already to make a picture of me. Then I arrive in Miami, and I learn that there is a direct fly. So, so somebody save money, and they come with the camera to take picture of me.
But you know, this is always a question of being ready in your career, because
it was great. It was Lucia.
You were ready. You were a young singer, but because another tenor fell ill at the last possible moment, you were ready and you did it. You came in there. You had a great triumph.
It was a great. I remember even Stevanello in that moment. He was the stage director, and he says, "Luciano, my dear, if you want the audience stay to hear you on the last act, you have really to do something before, because this lady is something sensational." I say, I know, but then when I hear her, I begin really first to panic, and then typical of myself, I really have a big reaction, and I try to survive. I think I did.
Come on, Luciano.
I think you survived.
Yeah, but it was quite an experience.
It's a wonderful vehicle for Lucia, but I think that last scene in the opera is terrific, and I always stand in the wings and listen to it. Just fantastic scene.
And then the year after the Miami Lucias, we all went to Australia together. We did a tour there, which lasted for 14 weeks, and we did 8 performances a week. Joan sang 3 performances, Luciano sang 3, sometimes together, sometimes with other people.
I will never forget one day, then we did a prova generale of 2 opera, like Traviata and Sonnambula.
The very two.
And here I am watching this incredible lady singing the thing in full voice. Before I say, I'm going to sing probably half of one, half of the other. Then I saw this incredible lady. I said, well, let me do the same thing. I did. At the end of the day, it was beautiful, and I think of all the performances we have done, we have never cancelled one.
Not once. No. But you know, singing is like athletics. You have to be strong, very strong. And so you must sing. This business of singing is marking always in rehearsals. Rubbish.
True.
Well, unless you're not feeling too well, if you have a cold for some reason. One of the things that we enjoyed doing most together was probably the daughter of the regiment, Luciano.
Incredible, absolutely.
We had some marvellous fun doing that.
Absolutely an incredible
in Covent Garden
experience. And let me tell you something, not to pay you a compliment, but just to say the pure, merely true. Every time I saw this opera with some other lady, I don't know why I miss a big part. And you know what it is? It's not the voice who is unique, yours. But it's really this incredible sense of humor that you did put in this role to make you a phenomenal comedian.
Oh, but
really.
then I love comedy, though, Luciano.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I think that Sandro helped too, because he has a great sense of humour. I think it was a brilliant sort of stroke.
But in the way you at a certain point you almost make fun of your bel canto in the lesson. And
oh, well, of course, you know who forced the issue there.
But you know, she had to work hard, the daughter, because she has to follow you singing an aria with 9 high Cs, which sounded like they were falling off a log.
I think I did work myself for that aria.
And Il faut partir is a nasty little aria to come after that one, believe me.
That is true. That is true.
No, we had great fun together with that opera. Wonderful times.
Darling, wait till you're a grandfather like us.
I'm waiting. My daughter, they don't like it. Well,
they want to be free a little longer. No. Oh, there's nothing wrong in that.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, the circumstances of my debut, they were after winning a competition in Reggio Emilia. The prize for the competition was to make an opera on the stage, and I was very lucky because I made Bohème with Molinari Pradelli conducting and Mafalda Favaro staging. Well, the Bohème, the 29th of April 1961, I will never forget because I was so scared to be able to go with the music. I have never played with the orchestra before, nothing. Even in the church we always play with organ and, you know. And then that night I was terrified from the conductor, who had the reputation to be a very tough guy, and I don't even remember to have seen audience there.
I'm so happy to hear that you were terrified.
Yes,
I'm very happy.
Really
so many young singers today, they are so sure of themselves. They are not frightened of anybody or anything.
I was terrified, but they taped the record, and I was terrified, but I was still able to do effect, very ambitious effect, which means that I really did prepare very well. The role, we were there for 6 consecutive months to prepare the role.
But to be prepared is everything in the theatre. You have to be prepared for every.
And I'm very pleased. I'm really very pleased of that day, and who almost instantly gave me the feeling. Then I was able to carry the entire opera, not just the aria, but even the recitativo, the acting, the thing. Of course, I told myself in that day, then I want to be better, and I am still today telling myself that. I always say that the audience, from what is my point of view, are the reflection of what we do on the stage. And sometimes it's true, sometimes it is not. Because, example, I'm just coming from Vienna, where we sang Ballo in Maschera, and we were unable, after the last aria, to go on, and our Maestro Abbado was forced to repeat the aria, and we repeat the aria. And then we go to Chicago, and 3 or 4 things, Doesn't mean then they appreciate less. It's just a question of the
People are
It's
different.
nice when they take the trouble to show you that they appreciate
yeah, I think so.
It's lovely.
I think so. I think because it's part of tradition.
Makes for an occasion.
Part of tradition. People who when you finish, they leave the theater. I think they are not really involved in what they are there for other reasons.
The more the public gives to an artist, the more the artist feels able to give to the public.
If the public shows that they're enjoying the performance, I think
No,
the
but they
artist
were all
rises to the
enjoying.
occasion and they
but
sing better.
they did not. In Chicago, it's like that. Even with the beautiful orchestra that they have. Conductor is the last sign of a dictator in the world. But he's a benevolent dictator who is indispensable. And
You have to have someone in charge.
And I think Richard Bonynge is the expression of the best of that, because really it does that music not just for the orchestra, but even for the voices. Then many of the famous conductors today, they don't really consider the voice like they should. Point.
Well, you know, I grew up with a lot of singers, and I know what people come to hear in the theatre, and they come to hear singers. They come to hear singing voices. Conductor can make a great deal of difference, an orchestra can make a lot of difference, but the public want to hear the singers, and if they can't hear the singers, they're going to complain.
I will never forget a little thing who happened to me while I was making a Rigoletto with Serafin. I was making a cadenza with the D flat, and he says, "Don't do it, young man. Don't do it. It's anti-musical." I say, "I know, but it's open my throat." He said, "Don't do it." Okay, then we are rehearsing, and I don't do it. Alla prova generale, he stopped the orchestra after the aria, and he says, "Try your cadenza." And then I try my cadenza. The top B come out much better. And he says, "You will do that. It's not musical, but you will do that." And then he's coming to my dressing room and he said, "You know what? Why you are doing that? Because half of your applause are mine. And half of your boo, if you have, are mine. So we must do the music in the best way, even if sometimes there is a little compromise of one note." And that was something that always stay in my mind very profound for the men like that, this kind of stature.
Serafin loved singers, and I think it's important for
And you see, they grew up in the theatre. They spent pretty much their whole lives in the theatre working with singers, and I think they really loved singers.
If you don't love singers, you shouldn't conduct the opera.
Well, but sometimes the conductor, and I can feel it.
They don't love
they are taking more from the. No, it's not that they are taking more from the music phrase of the orchestra. Then they use a singer like an instrument, like another instrument, and that is wrong.
No, a singer is a human instrument, which is something else entirely.
No. But the best conductor does that. They take very good care of singers. So who doesn't are not the best.
Well, you know, Luciano, I've been very fortunate to have Richard with me all the time. He's a very hard taskmaster. I mean, we talk about conductors and so on, but you've got to realise that we're married, we live together, we work together, we travel together, and he really doesn't take no for an answer, or "Oh, I can't do it." I'm always saying, "Oh, I can't do that, I can't do that," but he's never let me get away with that. And I think that my career and the length of my career has probably been due to the fact that he, at a very early age, stopped me singing roles that were really too heavy for me. I had a bigger idea of the size of my voice than it really actually was. I wanted to be a Flagstad. I adored that woman, and I wanted to sing all the Wagner roles. I just I just felt all that shimmering Wagner surging music. You know, it just sort of carried the voices upwards.
Was wonderful.
So you not just you have to thank the world, but not just you have to thank Richard, but all the world, but all the world,
because it really was not my real sort of fach, my real slot in the operatic world. And he just realised that my voice had more height to it and the agility to sing the bel canto repertoire.
Very tough. I know
he's
that.
strict.
Well, I say then Ricky has one defect. He has one defect the moment he go to work with other singer, because he thinks then the other singer are like you. So from you is demanding the impossible and obtaining, because you are what you are. And sometimes you see him a little shocked, then another person doesn't do it. But Ricky, come on, not everybody is Joan Sutherland.
He does. You know, he really he's had he's been given the title of Svengali at times.
Come on, now listen
and
here.
He has it.
Just
it's incredible what he can manage to get out of a singer.
I'm not so tough after all. I work with
I work
with a lot of
not so tough.
I work with a lot of young singers, and I love to work with young singers.
No, he does. He really does love
I'm not tough on them all. I'm tough on you. You need to be somebody to be tough on.
Oh, dear. Anyway.
It's a quality, I'm telling you, it's not a defect.
Well, you know, I don't like to think of it so seriously, but of course, I suppose in effect that's...
You've got to explain what you're talking about.
Sorry. You know, it has really been, for me, a great honour and a great privilege to be able to look after Joan's voice for so many years. And I'm happy that I've been able to do it, but in reality, it's herself that's done it, because she's a woman with a great deal of strength inside herself, and she's given up a great deal to make her career the way it has been, and she's worked very hard, and sometimes I feel I want to kick her to make her work a bit harder, but...
well, you don't actually get around to kicking me, I must say.
Metaphorically only, mind you, but... It's been a great joy over all these years to be able to follow a career and see it work out the way it's worked out, to help to mould a voice in a way. It's been for us an enormous thrill, a wonderful, wonderful life.
Well,
and we hope it goes for a little while.
It's been a great partnership, really.
Boo! No, I think thank you, television. That I have probably said before, but thank you, television, to have done such a big work for the world of the opera. Because before you come to our country of opera music, the little opera was very, very little form of entertainment. It was the Cinderella for very few people. And now I think it's for everybody, and if you like, you choose, like any other kind of form of entertainment. Thank you, television, very much.
And thank you, television.
È vero, eh? That's true. Absolutely true.
Now we've got to go and work.
Now we're going to